Being rich is cool, okay? It's really cool. You got cars. You got houses. You got a guy whose only job is to make sure your shoelaces are tied just right. I'm talking serious money. My name is Alex, and I had it all. But here's the crazy part. I was lonely, like talking to my reflection in a giant diamond lonely. You walk into a room and people don't see you. They see dollar signs. Every smile felt like a business deal. Every laugh felt like they were trying to get something. It was like living in a big, beautiful, empty mansion with gold toilets but no real friends. I was surrounded by everything but had nothing. So one night, I'm sitting in my home theater. It's bigger than a real movie theater, okay? I got a popcorn machine that makes 10 different flavors. But I'm just sitting there watching some old movie alone. And I thought, what is the point of all this? I had a fast car, but nowhere to go where someone was actually happy to see me. I had a huge dining table, but I was always eating by myself. All the women I met, they'd look at my watch before they looked at my eyes. I realized they weren't falling for Alex. They were falling for my bank account. And that, my friends, is a terrible, terrible feeling. It makes you feel small, even if you own the whole building. That's when I got this crazy idea. What if I wasn't rich? What if I was just a regular guy? A dude named Alex who works a normal job and worries about paying rent. It sounded insane. My business manager, a serious guy named Henderson who never smiles, thought I had lost my mind. He was like, "Mr. Sterling, you can't just pretend to be poor." I was like, "Watch me, Henderson, watch me." I needed to know if someone could love me for my terrible jokes and my weird habit of singing off key in the morning. I had to find a love that wasn't for sale, a love that was real. So the plan was on. Operation Find a Real Woman. I told Henderson to set me up in a small apartment across town. No fancy stuff, just a bed, a tiny kitchen and a TV with like 3 channels. I bought some regular clothes, jeans, t-shirts, stuff that didn't scream, "I own a private jet." I was going to become Alex Smith, a freelance graphic designer. It was the perfect cover. I was terrified. What if I was bad at being poor? What if I forgot and tried to pay for coffee with $100 bill? This was going to be the scariest, most ridiculous adventure of my life. But I had to do it for my heart. My new apartment was small, so small. I mean, I'm not a big guy, but I felt like a giant in there. The shower had 2 settings, freezing cold or boiling hot. There was no in between. My first trip to the grocery store was a disaster. I'm used to just grabbing whatever I want. Now, I had to look at prices. I spent 10 minutes staring at cereal boxes, trying to figure out which one was the best deal. People were looking at me like I was crazy. A woman with a shopping cart full of kids bumped into me and said, "You gonna stand there all day, or are you gonna pick one?" It was a whole new world. I started going to a local coffee shop every morning. It was this cozy little place called The Daily Grind. Much different from the fancy places I was used to. Here, people actually talked to each other. They knew the barista's name. One morning, I was trying to work on my laptop, pretending to be a graphic designer, and this woman sat down at the table next to me. She had the kindest smile I had ever seen. Her name was Maya. She was a teacher at a local elementary school. We started talking, just small talk at first, about the coffee, about the weather, about how slow my fake laptop was. Maya was amazing. She didn't care about what I did for a living or what kind of car I drove. She laughed at my bad jokes. She told me stories about her students, these little kids who drove her crazy, but she loved them anyway. We started meeting for coffee every day. Then coffee turned into lunch. Then lunch turned into long walks in the park. For the first time in forever, I felt normal. I was just Alex, this guy she liked hanging out with. It was the best feeling in the world. I was falling for her, hard, and I knew she was falling for the real me, the broke, regular guy version of me. Living this double life was tough though. I had to lie all the time. She'd ask about my family, and I'd have to make up some story about my average parents in another state. She'd ask about my apartment, and I'd describe my tiny, sad little box like it was a palace. I felt guilty every single time. Here was this wonderful, honest woman, and I was building our entire relationship on a huge lie. I wanted to tell her the truth, but I was so scared. What if she thought I was just playing some sick game? I was trapped. I'd found what I was looking for, but I was afraid the truth would make it all disappear. Okay, so things are going great with Maya. We're laughing, we're having fun. I'm feeling like a real person. But you can't keep a secret like mine forever. Something's gotta give. One weekend, we decided to go to a street fair downtown. You know, with food trucks, games, and music. I was actually having a good time, trying to win her a giant stuffed bear from one of those rigged carnival games. I was throwing balls, missing every single time. It was embarrassing, but she was laughing, so it was okay. I was just Alex, the guy who couldn't throw a ball straight to save his life. Then, disaster struck. I saw him from across the crowd. It was Henderson, my super serious business manager. What was he doing here? This guy doesn't do fun. He was walking with some important-looking clients pointing at a building my company owned. My heart jumped into my throat. I grabbed Maya's hand and was like, "Hey, you know what? This game is boring. Let's go check out that food truck over there." I literally dragged her away, hiding my face behind a giant cotton candy I bought just to cover myself. My heart was pounding like a drum solo. I was sweating. It was too close. Maya looked at me confused. "Alex, are you okay? You look like you just saw a ghost." I had to think fast. "A ghost? No ghost. I really wanted some of these tacos. I get very serious about tacos. It's a problem." She bought it, thank goodness. But the whole rest of the day, I was on edge. I kept looking over my shoulder, scared I'd run into someone else I knew. How long could I keep this up? It felt like I was in a spy movie. But instead of saving the world, I was just trying to have a normal date without my butler showing up to ask if I needed my jacket pressed. That night, I went back to my tiny apartment and just sat on the floor. The guilt was eating me alive. Maya deserved the truth. She was the most honest person I knew, and I was lying to her face every single day. This whole thing started because I wanted something real, but what I was building with her felt like a house of cards. One little gust of wind, one accidental run-in with my real life, and the whole thing would come crashing down. I had to tell her. I was terrified she would hate me, that she would feel used. But lying to her felt even worse. I had to risk it all. So I decided to do it. I had to come clean. I invited Maya over for dinner. Not to my fancy mansion, of course, to my little fake apartment. I was going to cook for her. Big mistake. I can't cook. I almost set the kitchen on fire trying to make spaghetti. The smoke alarm went off and I was waving a dish towel at it like a madman. It was not the romantic, serious mood I was going for. She just laughed and helped me open the windows, saying, "Alex, maybe we should just order a pizza." That's when I knew I couldn't wait any longer. She was perfect. We sat on my lumpy couch with a pizza box between us. My hands were shaking. I took a deep breath and said, "Maya, there's something I have to tell you, and it's probably going to change everything." She looked concerned, putting her pizza down. "Okay," she said softly. "You can tell me anything." So I told her everything. My real name isn't Alex Smith, it's Alex Sterling. I told her about the company, the mansion, the cars, the ridiculous fortune. I explained why I did it, how lonely I was, and how I just wanted to find someone who liked me for me. I just laid it all out there, my voice cracking. When I finished, there was this long silence. It felt like an hour. She just stared at me. I couldn't read her expression. I was thinking, that's it. It's over. She's going to get up and walk out, and I'll deserve it. I braced myself for the worst. My heart was a little puddle on the floor. I couldn't even look at her. I just stared at the pizza box, thinking about how my entire future depended on what she would say next. This was it. The moment of truth. The finale of my crazy, stupid, desperate plan to find love. I felt so small. Then she did something I didn't expect. She started to laugh. Not a mean laugh, but a real, genuine laugh. "So, you're telling me you're secretly a billionaire, and you couldn't even win me a stuffed bear at the carnival?" she said, shaking her head. I looked up, confused. She reached out and took my hand. "Alex, you idiot," she said, smiling. "I don't care about it. I was falling for the guy who burns spaghetti and tells terrible jokes. That's the guy I like." In that moment, I knew I had found it. Real love has nothing to do with what's in your wallet, and everything to do with being honest and just being yourself, even if you're a little weird.